inaugural Top Performing Incubation Forum podcast, the 2024 series. My name is Ali Amin, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of UBI Global, and I'll be gladly your host for today's episode. In this series, we bring together leading voices from the world's premier incubation and acceleration programs to explore the latest trends, innovative practices, success stories in business incubation and acceleration. Our goal is to empower and inspire industry professionals, entrepreneurs, other stakeholders involved in the innovation ecosystem. This fits well with my own organization, UBI Global, where our mission is to internationally connect, benchmark, educate, and recognize excellence among business incubators and accelerators in order to advance startup and innovation growth. Today, we have an exciting episode lined up for you on the topic of incubation insights behind tech parks and startup campus, now and future. Together with me on this podcast, we have some distinguished guests with us who will share their insights, their knowledge, and their experience with you all. And the lineup is a truly global one, and I am very excited to hear some of their thoughts on today's topics. First out, we have from Montreal in Canada, and it's Kika Armata at the McGill Dobson Center for Entrepreneurship. Kika, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Second out, where we move into the Middle Eastern parts of it, we have Marwan Abdulaziz Janai, Senior Vice President of Dubai Science Park. Welcome to the podcast, Marwan.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And finally, from China and Shanghai, where the World Top Incubator Forum will be held in a month from now, we have Crystal Zhu. Crystal is the Strategic Development Manager of the Tech and Innovation Division at Caojing Management Company. So thank you for joining us today, Crystal.
Thank you, Ali, and very glad to communicate with you guys here.
So as you hear, everyone, we have a truly global podcast or perspective today. So I hope that we kind of get to learn from different perspectives from the conversations that it's going to commence. But before we kind of jump into all of it, it could be good to know a little bit of the background of our guests and their programs. So we'll start with Kika. Could you please just very shortly to the listeners introduce yourself and your institutions, something perhaps about the core concepts and the specialties of your organization?
Sure. So it's an absolute pleasure to be here. My name is Kika Armata. I'm the Associate Director at the McGill University Dobson Center for Entrepreneurship. We are the entrepreneurial hub at McGill University. So our mission is to teach, coach, and support entrepreneurs stemming from across McGill's 11 faculties, 13 schools, 35 research centers, and beyond, to help them build innovative companies with a purpose. So as the Dobson Center continues to catalyze sustainable socioeconomic innovation locally and internationally, we're very proud this year to have been honored as the America's Most Impactful Initiative of 2024. Ranked by Triple E Awards, and this follows the accolades last year that recognized the Dobson Center as the Global Innovation Ecosystem of the Year. So very proud, and I guess we'll get into kind of the meat very soon of what we do.
Thank you for that background, Kika. Marwan, please share a little bit about your background and your organization.
Mm-hmm. Well, the United Arab Emirates and Dubai is a relatively a young nation, and we have the fortune of doing things in a different way, learning from what has happened around the world, both west and east. And some time ago, about 20 years ago, next year, there was a mandate from our leadership that for a science or a biotech park to be created, and we basically took that vision. So I had joined when the Dubai Science Park was an idea on a piece of paper, and I supported its launch in 2009. And today there are more than 500 companies in the park, both large and small, with different programming activities, from research to manufacturing to incubation, and also some regional offices of companies. So we have come a long way, and I think it'll be interesting to share our journey and how we've done it, and what's our vision for the future.
Thank you for that background, Marwan. I truly look forward to hear more about that as well. Finally, to our hosts and guests as well, Crystal, hi. Please share a bit about yourself and your organization.
Thanks. I'm Crystal from Caohejing High Tech Park, and now I'm mainly responsible for scientific and technological innovation programs. And as for Caohejing, our park, Caohejing has a very long history, and this year's marks our 40th anniversary. We are among China's first batch of national economic and technological development park. Now we have already gathered more than 20 universities and over 100 national scientific research institutions. And also, in terms of our topic today, incubation, we have more than 40 incubators and accelerators of all kinds. And also, I think one of the very important source behind our Caohejing achievements related to we have a very strong brand in China right now. And also I think for the next stage about incubation and acceleration, one of the most target is for us is to build a pioneer area of Shanghai's scientific and technology innovation center.
Thank you so much, Crystal. And we're actually going to deep much more into your organization and structure as well, and it goes a little bit to all of you. As you all heard, that the representatives of today comes from large organizations and institutions that conducts many activities within the entrepreneurship and the innovation space. And today we would like to focus a little bit on the incubation aspect of it. So let's just start with the kind of the first question that we have on today's theme, and it goes to Kika, and it's that could you, in a sense, kind of describe the Dobson Center's incubation process? At what stages? How does it work? How do one kind of run through the processes? And within that, what type of support and services do you offer, and why startups and entrepreneurs are choosing to be incubated with you guys?
Sure. So I'll try to keep it down to 3 minutes because I feel like we do so much. So essentially, we support startups through every stage of the entrepreneurial journey. So typically, we would accompany a startup anywhere between 2 to 5 years, and then the relationship lasts well beyond that. So we have programs that focus on the ideation stage to help them kind of develop their idea and how to structure a business. Then they continue down the learning pathway and go into validation, acceleration, and then as as the companies grow and the most promising ones become apparent, we then showcase them internationally to help them do their fundraising. So it's really like from a beginning to pretty much all the way to exit that will accompany them. And we are sector agnostic. So it's really the only criteria is that one of the founders has a McGill affiliation because it's a McGill University accelerator. And then, so we have programming that essentially is startup learning programming, very, very practical in nature. So all of our guest speakers, contributors, coaches, mentors are all industry professionals, they're VCs, they are experienced entrepreneurs. So they're people who have done it, and it's not, it's not meant to be theoretical, it's meant to be super applicable and practice oriented. So in addition to our kind of our core programming, which is sector agnostic, we then have all of that learning pathway in dedicated streams, one being health sciences. So McGill has, the Dobson Center has historically about 30% of its startups working in the health science, kind of med tech, bioengineering space. So this has always been an area that we've been really strong in. And we realized some time ago that the roadmap to commercialization is very, very different for a health startup than it is for other startups, just because it's a different development process and different hurdles to overcome. So we recognized the need to develop a program that was specifically dedicated to health sciences, which has proved to be a really good strategy. Because we were able to bring in some really incredible partnerships, both locally and internationally, and of course, work with experts that have brought these types of solutions to the market. In addition to that, we recently launched another stream focused entirely on sustainability. So when I talk about sustainability, I'm talking about climate tech, environmental enterprise. We're including within that agricultural technology, clean tech, as well as social enterprise. So that accounts for about another 30% of our startups. And that stream too is really has a focus on, environmental impact throughout the learning. And then the only other thing that I'll add to that is that we do have a dedicated program for women founders. So the Dobson Center, since 2019, half of our startups have been founded or co-founded by women founders. So that's another area where we've been trying to really move the dial.
Thank you so much, Kika. We will have the opportunity to elaborate a little bit more on that as well after kind of in the end of it as well. But health, sustainability, those were the two areas that you brought up, and the women founder aspect as well. So there you have it, folks. Just a little bit about McGill Dobson Center. So let's move to Dubai. Marwan, same question. What in terms of incubation do you guys offer? And within that, are there any support and services within that is your specialty that you have seen being appreciated, maybe working for you guys?
Mm-hmm. Sure. So we have launched an incubation program about 10 years ago. And just to give a bit of background about who we are owned by our parent company is a company called TCOM Group. And TCOM Group started its first industry park back in 1999, focusing on technology. And then it expanded into media, education, and science later on in 2005. And the most recent one was fashion and design in 2013. So we basically specialize on creating industry parks and try to build around it an ecosystem around that park. Taking in mind the requirements of the sector, what do they need, whether it is infrastructure, services, support, etc. The incubation program is called N5. N for innovation, and 5 being the first 5 steps of incubation. And because technology was our first industry part, that it made sense that we have it focused on it. And obviously the program grew and went into media with its own specialization space, things that are needed by folks in the media, and then later on into design with fabrication labs, etc. And last year, the program was launched for science. Um, so, uh, but the aim of this program is to support the larger ecosystem of the Dubai Science Park that exists of companies working in the research and testing facilities, companies doing light manufacturing and repackaging, and also companies that are here for regional offices. So it is an add-on to what we do. And within the incubation program, we try to really enable startups, and we make sure that we choose them very carefully. We have a committee that consists of internal and external partners, both living in the UAE and also from outside of the UAE, and we make sure that they meet certain criteria for a startup. And what we essentially do is that we give them 3 main pillars of support. One being highly subsidized access to space, whether that is co-working or laboratories, etc., whatever that startup needs. We assign them or give them access to mentors. As I said earlier, we have 500 companies, so lots of executives who work in the field, representing different types of industry, whether it's pharma, biotech, medical device, energy, environment, material science, depending on their niche area of expertise. We basically assign them to a mentor. And then thirdly is access to investors. As a holistic, ecosystem builder, I think that's probably the best way to describe us. We don't necessarily invest ourselves. However, we, give the opportunity to the investors around us, whether they are VCs, family offices, angel investors, and that's something that happens through programming, events, pitch days, etc. And it's a lot of fun. We've seen a lot of companies go IPO, so it's kind of a pity that we don't invest, because we know the good ones who come to us. We see them before anyone else. But obviously, that's our mandate, is to help companies and support them to grow.
Thank you so much, Marwan. And I think you make a really interesting point in terms of the roles of the science arc and then the incubation, how it kind of feeds into the ecosystem. And I really like the 3 things that you offer, because those 3 things are usually the hardest things for an entrepreneur and a startup to access itself. So when it comes to space and laboratory, if there's an opportunity to leverage that, that's a very impressive support. Mentors, and to get the knowledge from the industry, access to it, and then finally, the air that everybody needs, which is the capital aspect of it. And so those 3 areas is also something that UBI Global looks at and measure when we look at the impact and performance of a good ecosystem enabler, which Dubai Science Park and its incubation programs also offer. So thank you for elaborating on that. Moving on, Crystal, would you like to share the same? So more about one of the 40 incubation programs that you guys are supporting, and a bit around the process. What do you offer, and which would you say are the key services and core offerings that your entrepreneurs and startups are leveraging the most?
Yeah, sure. Actually, we are very comprehensive innovation and center. So the first thing I want to say is that what we do is to the purpose of our incubation is to support the development of innovative enterprises, enhance their independent innovation capabilities, and achieve industry clustering and also expansion. So I think we have already have experience in providing abundant resources and also professional services. So the first thing is that we have already combined like top scientists, university students overseas, and all the talent from the different background. So because we believe that the talent is the first resources, so all the talents can communicate and can hear. And another thing is that we offer like industry resources. We have over 100 like Fortune 500 companies in Caohejing. So this has put us in a very unique position to launch some like accelerators camps, providing like capital, resources, knowledge, and several like content for deep tech startups, as we could support them with process financing and also corporate scenario-based implementation, and also help them to accelerate their transformation and upgrade their business into a new level. And also for the service, we have already created like one-stop service platform. So for this platform, we can provide such as government service, industrial service, like innovation service, talent service, and so on. So all of these services empower like enterprise to develop in our park. And also, as for startups, I think the very important thing is to create a lot of innovation activities. This is aimed to providing comprehensive and multi-level learning opportunities for them. So we organize like online courses and also offline workshops every month. So these activities help the entrepreneurs to easily understand latest policies and also trends, and also access to some more like industry resources.
Thank you so much, Crystal. And I also know from the Chinese perspective is that you guys are going more vertically focused or industry expertise. Yeah. So which areas is your science park and incubation focusing on? What are your selection in that aspect?
Yeah, you're right. Actually, we are very focused on the national, our national industry, things like artificial intelligence and also biomedical and like that. So it's all focused on the total strategy.
Thank you so much, Crystal. So to summarize a bit, the support that you're providing, one main area is around talent, regardless of how big China is, and in terms of educated people, engineers, all of the university, to consolidate that and identify talents and bring them together under one roof to collaborate. It's a huge task to take, and that's something that you guys are focusing on. And then the network with the industry, I have to say that's one of the things that I've been very impressed by with almost all of the highly ranked incubators and science parks in China. And that's the integration that you have with the stock listed companies and with those institutions that are hopefully will be leveraging the innovation that these startups and entrepreneurs are developing. So the integration with the industry is it's a very big task to it. And then you also mentioned something around your one-stop platform. So there's some technology there where, as a startup, as an entrepreneur, as a researcher, can kind of tap into in order to lower the hurdles and the thresholds when it comes to starting, running, and growing your organization. So thank you for sharing that as well. So now we have a little bit of context of what everybody's doing, how structure, what our aims are. Well, let's take a look at some of the outcomes then. Well, there's we know the input and the output. Hopefully, is entrepreneurs and projects that are ready to take over. But the outcomes, meaning some of the success stories and the incubation cases. So, Kika, how can you mention what's your favorite story? From the McGill process, if you have one, but also to connect it to how do you think an organization like the Dobson Center contributed to that success as well?
Yeah. Okay, so I'll start with the latter question. I think we contributed in the sense that we really help them develop that business acumen, because a lot of times they come to us, they have very solid technical expertise, but very little expertise in how to commercialize. So that's really where we come in, and I think it's through the mentorship and the training. We do a lot of pitch training too. So I think that by the time they come out of our programs, they're very, very solid at pitching. But above and beyond that, I think it's also, you mentioned just earlier, like the network effect. So we have a very strong network of internal and external partners, both locally and internationally. For example, we work with over 100 investment firms that are involved in our programs. So coaching and mentoring and different interventions with the startups. So I think one of the major strengths of the Dobson Center, above and beyond what we offer tangibly in terms of education, it's really the connections that our startups make through our center. So we connect them to, global affairs in different countries. We connect them to investors. We connect them to business experts, and anything we can will help. And that's resulted in 470 active startups. We've coached many more than that, but 470 that are still active and thriving. And actually, we have new numbers coming out, but I'm not allowed to announce them just yet. But in concert, they've raised $3.7 billion in funding. They've created more than 10,000 jobs, and they have operations in 38 countries worldwide and affiliations with 88 universities, virtually everywhere in the world as well. So in terms of some of my favorite stories, there's a couple of really exciting, more than a couple of really exciting startups who have come out of the center. One that's kind of a more recent one in the health sector is called Momentum Health. So they are the first FDA-approved AI solution for scoliosis, and they're now doing really well. They've raised over $5 million, and they're now opening another round to go to $7 million. They're backed by the International Scoliosis Association, which is based in Sweden, and they're selling already to a couple of US and European hospitals. So that's a really exciting one. And they kind of completed all the Dobson programming. So it's been really fun to see them from the beginning stages and where they are now. Another one that's quite exciting is Alter Climate. So they also have an AI enterprise solution to help assess climate risk for capital investment projects. And they were actually a top 20 last year at Slush. Taiga Motors is another one that comes to mind. So they are revolutionizing the snowmobile and ski-doo industry with electric recreational vehicles. And they went public in 2020. They opened a huge manufacturing plant here in Quebec and are now exporting internationally. And I'll make one more example because I like to show how it goes full circle. So there's one of our startups, Valence Labs, recently just got acquired. They do an AI algorithm to support drug discovery. And so they've done quite well. They've gotten acquired, and now they come back and do some of the coaching and mentoring and supporting at the Dobson Center. So it's really fun to experience, having accompanied them, seeing their growth, seeing their exit, and then having them come back and support the budding new entrepreneurs. So I'll
Thank you
stop
so
there.
much, Kika, for sharing that. Those were some very impressive outcomes of it. I kind of also heard kind of a common thread in all of them, and it was around embracing AI as a tool to enhance in cross whatever industry that you might have been, but that is not enough. McGill and being part of Dobson Center's process has helped all of these companies to open doors, being educated in order to have this to enable it. So thank you for visualizing and highlighting that. Marwan, so you mentioned who your owners are and why you existed and when you were founded. So when you are asked the question, what's the return on investment on the science parks and the activities that we are putting in? What are some of the outcomes of it? How do you answer that? And how can you visualize the parks and the incubation programs contribution to those outcomes?
Mm-hmm. Well, our parent company went public last year, and we're listed on the Dubai Financial Market, which is the local stock market, and what we do and our KPIs, let's say, and deliverables are quite public. So it's something that I can openly talk about. But I think what I want to talk about a little bit more is the strategy that we follow to create Dubai Science Park, because when we got the mandate 19 years ago, we really had a clean canvas on how to do it and what's the best way to do it for our region. And McGill is one of the models, let's say, we looked at, in addition to the UK, San Francisco, and Singapore. And a lot of them were really focused on taking the idea from bench to the market. And I think Kika gave us very good examples of that. And that's because the depth of science is quite, it's big. There's a legacy of research, there's a legacy of grants, people investing in science. But that's something we did not have at that time. And it was perceived to be very dangerous, and it was perceived to be very risky to be investing in startups, and especially in the area of science, which is a bit more complicated than other areas or other sectors. So we kind of took a step back and we said, what, let us capitalize on the strengths of Dubai, which was or still is logistics, connectivity to other markets, availability of finance and banking in around the world, and also being a talent magnet. And we realized that we don't need to necessarily start from basic research and basic science, and perhaps go to companies that have products and services that are ready to be launched and ready to be marketed. So in a way, what we did is we did a backward integration. So rather than taking the idea from the market, from the bench to market, what we're doing and what we did is from market to bench. So what happened is that companies initially started opening a marketing office, and then expanded by doing storage and logistics, to basically do distribution, and then from there they did a bit of manufacturing with local providers and then their own. And then when the pandemic happened and all efforts went to, and Ali, you mentioned that you lived in Dubai. So I think you saw how quickly the government reacted and wanted to have, quick access to the vaccine. And that meant not only the Pfizer vaccine, but also the Chinese and the Russian. And that meant that we needed to be part of global clinical trials. And all efforts literally overnight went into how do we enhance the the clinical trials landscape in the UAE? How do we make it efficient, attractive, and streamlined? So that happened. It was an emergency. Everybody's efforts went into it. But then that also created a beautiful platform for people to want to do clinical trials post the pandemic. So now, we are doing a lot of global clinical trials by so many companies, and also smaller companies in niche areas like rare diseases and oncology. And that really has come a full circle. So, I think it was a good thing for me to kind of continue the journey, and still with Dubai Science Park. It's in my 18th year this year, so I've really seen the evolution of that. And I think now, with the appetite to invest in science, the appetite of creating IP, is really at its peak. And we see so many investments that are coming in. And I think our incubation program last year was really a result of the demand that we're seeing for science.
Well, thank you, Marwan, for that perspective. It's quite interesting to hear that the science park as its role in the science and in the innovation exchange and processes has taken a bigger societal role, thanks to its connections, its to logistical aspects, etc. That you've taken a support role in the entire society, and when it hits all aspects of it. And that itself, it's an incredible success stories, because you had your processes, you had your relationships, you had things already established, and you were very, very fast of leveraging that. And so if you ever get your funding decreased, you can always mention that, hey, we helped convert a global pandemic faster, thanks to our infrastructure. So that's a great return on investment or argument, sharing that. So thank you for highlighting that. Crystal, what's the success aspect of your science park, and where do you think the activities and the processes is at its peak from your area, and do you have some interesting success stories to share around that?
Yeah. So I think for our park, we continue to integrate like high quality resources, and the thing I want to say is that we remain committed to being demand driven. So when it comes to the incubation, we put ourselves in their shoes. So we have established like a 4-level science tech enterprise incubation chain, like consisting of nurseries, like spaces, like incubators, accelerators, and also the mentoring system. So we have launched a series of training courses, and we are very carefully planned and also matched according to our business, their development stage. So to help them to very quickly grasp like national and the district policies, and some of them are very new to how to plan and manage a business, but they are very professional about the tech. So what we do is to help them to know how to start. And another important thing that I think to help them success is to overcome like not only short-term financial challenges, but also support them to growth and continued development. So we also contribute like guarantee-free loans, and also like investment and among the government, banks, and also enterprises. So another thing is we also did like cross-border soft landing. Like you see the activities we do, like 曹和金Enforce Bootcamp, and which was designed for like local entrepreneurs with 3 months intense programs, and also like Singapore Thai accelerating camp online, which is the first 2-week acceleration camp project between these 2 countries. And actually we have large like area about the incubation. We have about like 30,000 square meters. So and as for now, I think we have already successfully incubated more than 1,600 enterprises. So I'm very proud. And as for some successful cases, I think I want to say that is for the incubation itself. I would like to say that one thing is about what the program we launched in November last year is Miracle Plus. And this Miracle Plus was also approved as one of the first 7 high-quality incubators in Shanghai. And the goal is to help founders to take the first step and accelerate steps development. And we're relying on Dr. Lucci. And what's the most important job about us is to polish founders their own business plan ideas with them, and also provide initial funding for startups. And also to help to create an environment where startups can fully focus on developing products and communicate with users. So I think the experience and also the connections with the entrepreneurs is very priceless.
So Crystal, what I'm hearing is that you guys are doubling down on your activities, and you are investing even further into your processes, etc. Is there an objective, a goal that you are striving for, that by 2030 your science park, your ecosystem is to have reached this target? Why are you guys investing so much more into your activities? What's the end goal here, or maybe the goal, not the end, but part of the way?
Oh yeah, actually our park is national capital preferred innovation carrier, because we have this task about to help the enterprise to grow. And we have like some small steps, and we help them to gain awards in district level steps competitions. And also we still have some business that is already very successful. And yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Crystal. We're gonna have the chance to actually elaborate a little bit more on that on our kind of final deep dive within this conversation, and that is to look at the future. You know, what we've been trying to accomplish here today is basically, you know, to say, are innovation centers, science parks, entrepreneurship support programs, are they relevant? Are we making an impact? And if so, how are we making that, and where are we doing that? So, Kika, on that kind of context, and do you think, you know, Dobson Center is still relevant in the future? And the centers, you know, across what you've seen, are there? Do you see any shifts? Do you see anything that you guys need to change in order to stay that relevant? So basically, what do you see in the future for yourself, but also maybe from the industry itself?
Yeah. So, you know, our mission is to build innovative companies with a purpose. So it's not just a tagline. It's really something that we value, and the vision is really to put companies in the world that are sustainable, that have a positive social impact as well as economic impact, a positive impact on the planet. And so that's kind of been like our guiding post. So I feel very, very optimistic about the future, because, you know, there are a lot of problems in the world, but have the fortune in my role to be working with people that are trying to solve some of the most important and most pressing issues that we face. So that gives me a big beacon of hope. And one of the things that we were able to do, and I think that really kind of confirmed our values and our beliefs, is that we were able to do a deep dive into all of the companies that we've supported and evaluate their socio environmental impact against the UN's 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And what we were able to validate was that every single one of our companies targets and has a positive impact on at least one UN SDG, several of them more than one. And then as a whole, we target all 17 UN SDGs. And I think that this is really important, and it's a growing trend. So we're going to continue to kind of, you know, hold that vision in place and support businesses that have that kind of positive impact. Obviously, you know, it's a continuous learning process. We're always tweaking, readapting, incrementally improving our programs. So we're kind of like a startup in the sense that we're always evaluating the needs of our founders and how can we improve. I think another thing that I'm really excited about in the future, as Dobson continues to grow, is all the enormous potential for international as well as local partnerships. So I think that's a trend, not only amongst incubators and accelerators, but even like with the corporate sector as well. We do see that, you know, we're very entrenched with the corporate sector, and those partnerships really are very constructive and provide a very practical approach. And so we benchmark ourselves, you know, not only against incubators internationally, but against the corporate sector.
Thank you so much, Kika. It's truly inspiring to see where you have positioned yourself and what the role is, and moving on, and then hopefully, or with the goal, with your tagline as well, but to kind of contribute and impact in a positive way. One thing that I like about UAE in particular, Marwan, is that when it comes to future and vision setting, you guys are truly leading in that aspect. There's always a 10 to 20-year vision set, but then you also back it up. And that's quite impressive of the transformation that you have been doing. So what's the vision now for Dubai as a whole, and how is the science park contributing with that, and what do you see, moving ahead in terms of your role?
Mm-hmm. Well, I must say that, I think we're one of the few nations that really operates as a as a startup, or as a very corporate kind of way of operating, where people who do well are rewarded, and people who don't do so well and don't achieve their targets are asked to leave in a very kind of public way, and people take their government roles very seriously, and don't think of it as a comfortable jobs. And that really, and I think the agility of changing, and the agility of adapting gives us that kind of edge, I would say. And that really trickles down from all the sectors. And us as a company, I explained the journey that we went through from what companies started with, and what they do now. And we have started working a lot with local and international universities, is really to create that bridge between industry and academia. And there's a lot to learn from McGill and other places. And I think with the world becoming more and more specialized, we will have to create that bridge, because scientists will be scientists, researchers will be researchers, and that's totally fine. But our job is to match them with the people who will help them bring those ideas to life and bring those solutions to market. Because if they are in a publication, or if they are sitting in a nice journal somewhere, it's not going to help anyone. So I think our role collectively is becoming even more important, because there is more sophistication in specializations, and I think collectively we all aspire to the same thing, which is to have a better future for us, for humans, and also to be more friendly to the environment. And I think those are very big goals that can be accomplished.
So Marwan, then I want to go a little bit more on a personal level then. Today is 2024. So let's say, I hope and I truly believe that you're still within this world and this sphere in 2030. What if I'm coming back in 2030, and I would ask you, hey, did you achieve your goal, or do you feel like you contributed? Did you have the success that you envisioned? What would you say? What would you like to say then?
Well, I would love to say absolutely yes. And I think, given where we are today, I don't think our goals are very far reached. They should be attainable with everything that we have, and with all the collaborations that we have, and with the vision that our leaders have put, and also their support. There is a lot of funding that is going into science companies. There is a lot of support when it comes to universities, students, with scholarships, grants, etc., and programs like the one that we run. So um, I, 2030 is not many years from now, almost
Yeah.
6 years.
Mhm.
So I'd love to have another chat with you, and tell you about our
Well,
accomplishments.
I will remember it. I will definitely remember it. Or at least there's a recording of it now, so we can go back to it. Crystal, so from your science park, what do you guys see for the future, and your role in it? and how do you think, as one of the national leading, science parks and areas, where are you heading, and what do you see kind of shifting a bit?
Actually, I'm quite agree with Kika and Melvin. Yeah, I think our incubation work, become more important in the future, and also I'm very optimistic about the future. So as for the in the future, I think as far as I am concerned, also first is the specialization. We can expect that incubators and accelerators become more specialized in the world, and also focusing on niche markets and industries. So this specialization will allow them to provide resources and the mentorship, catering the specific needs of the startups. And another thing that Kika said, sustainability, I'm also very agree. Yeah, there will be a growing emphasis on sustainability and social impact. So incubators and accelerators will likely prioritize to the startups that address environmental challenges and also contribute positively to the society. Of course, in the future, I think the data-driven decision making is very important, as we have already communicated about the successful. I think the use of data analytical to track the startup progress and predict success will become more prevalent. And also this will enable accelerators to refine our support strategies and improve outcomes for participating startups, which could help to increase the success rate, I think, in the future. And also, last but not the least, I think we are here now, the world becomes more interconnected. So we can expect that more global collaboration between each parks, centers, and innovation hubs like that. So this will facilitate cross-boundary partnership and help startups access international markets more easily. So overall, the landscape of incubators will involve to become more interconnected, specialized, and also align with the global trends. So I'm very much looking forward to a bright future.
Thank you so much, Crystal. I got uplifted by your optimism and where we are leading. And I have to say, I think that is, I think maybe I can speak for all of us, is why we truly enjoy the positions that we are in. We are working, within the innovation space. While we might not be innovators ourselves, we are enablers of innovation. And that itself, it's always fulfilling to kind of have a role in that, in order to literally make the world a better place. And so thank you everyone for kind of sharing your role within that aspect of it. We've come to kind of the end of the podcast. So I really would like to say thank you for everyone for sharing from your perspectives. Your contact information and also information about your organizations and institutions will be available to anybody that listens on this one. And I encourage you to take a look at McGill, at Dubai Science Park, and the Chao Kehen High Tech Park, and many of those activities. There are programs, there are pathways, there are networks to be leveraged. So to wrap this up, today we've been hearing and exploring different models, different focus areas, and different roles that our organizations have have taken in the incubation space. And from what I could gather, sustainability was one of those words that kind of popped up more often than others. Enablement, mentorship, support, training, and also working within the ecosystem. As we all know, incubators and accelerators are not alone in the innovation ecosystem. I always say it should be the spider in the web, being in the center of it, and having access to all of these actors, being with what Marwan said about connecting with the market, and being the connector between the supply and the demand, where they speak with the demand first and then work on the supply part of it. Well, Kika as a spider, and McGill, the way I kind of looked at it is to ensure that you contribute on a positive impact on it, that we are addressing the sustainable development goals and making a positive impact on it, so that your startups and your support organizations can go where it needs to be gone. And I think that's an important aspect of it. And Crystal, as the spider from your aspect of it, to be connected to the industry, to be that spider where identify where all of the talents are, and kind of bring them under the same platform, and encourage them to solve the today's problems and tomorrow. That's a very impressive and a challenge to take up on, and I think you guys have positioned yourself really well. So the theme of today's podcast was about some insights around tech parks and startup campuses now and the future. And I would like to say thank you to all of you. You really kind of gave us, and I hope also the listeners and the viewers, your perspective exactly around that topic. So final words is that I would like to say thank you for tuning into this podcast. It's connected to the World Top Performing Incubator Forum 2024 that will be held from September 26th to 28th in Lingang in Shanghai. Hopefully we get to meet Crystal there as well a month from now. And for everybody else, stay tuned for more episodes as we continue to explore the dynamic world of innovation, incubation, and entrepreneurship. Thank you to the guests. And then until next time, please keep innovating.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. That was it, guys. And I truly would like to emphasize again, I really enjoyed the conversation, and thank you for sharing three really different perspectives. And I think that is what the goal was as well. Kika, I'm going to reach out to you, and now I forgot her name again.
Marianne.
Marianne, thank you. I was like, to come back. Kahil, exactly. Marianne, shortly as well. Marwan, In5 is on my radar. And the program, so I'm going to try to reach out and hopefully invite them to be part of our benchmark and best practices activities and processes. We would love to lift up all of the amazing work that's happening from your sector. And Crystal, well, I look forward to bring myself, but also our community and people to your home. And so it's going to be a lot of fun to collaborate further. So we're on time. We did really well. So thank you guys again, and I'll speak to you shortly.
Thank you, and it was really nice meeting you all.
Same here.
I'm going
to connect you with the program manager at In5. I think.
Please do. I don't have a personal relationship with them, so I would appreciate
that. I don't think I did. I did them. I was fair into. They've done so much, especially on the digital health aspect.
Yeah.
But those information are available and can be shared with you. So
perfect. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.